On April 14, 1996, Konoshin Suga, the head coach of Onaruto Stable, one of the many training centers for professional sumo wrestlers in Japan, died in a Nagoya hospital where his cause of death was listed as pneumonia and heart failure. 15 hours later, an insider for sumo wrestling by the name of Seiichiro Hashimoto died in the same hospital. It could have been easy to brush off their deaths as unrelated, but many people questioned how coincidental their deaths truly were when just a month ago, both men came forward with allegations of match rigging, drug use, risque sexual activities, tax evasion, and connections to the Japanese syndicate Yakuza that were apparently rampant in the strictly guarded world of Grand Sumo Wrestling. These allegations rocked the conservative nation of Japan, especially when it involves the sport that is so deeply connected with the Shinto religion and considered a pillar of Japanese tradition and culture. The allegations also didn't come from just anybody else, but a sumo elder. This is the status given to retired, successful sumo wrestlers who are given special and limited licenses to head sumo training centers. Konoshin Suga retired from being an active wrestler fighting under the name Kotetsuyama in 1975. He had a relatively successful career, achieving a championship in Judo division, the second highest division in sumo, and reached the title holder rank of Sekiwake in the top division of professional sumo wrestling. He became a sumo elder or oyakata after his retirement from professional sumo. He founded the Onaruto Stable in October 1975, which produced two notable sumo wrestlers, Itai, who reached the rank of komusubi, and Ishinriki, who had reached Juryo. After closing down the stable in 1994, Konoshin Suga left the Japan Sumo Association. A year later, Suga and supporter Seiichiro Hashimoto came forward with allegations of Yaocho, the term for match fixing or match rigging in professional sumo. There had been allegations of match fixing in professional sumo for years before Konoshin Suga's book, but they were mostly published in tabloid newspapers. Allegations coming from a former wrestler who was also a former sumo elder solidified rumors published in these papers. The book also talked about how there are close ties within high-ranking officials in the Japan Sumo Association to Japanese organized crime syndicates that supply important members of the sumo world with drugs and women.
この相撲の告発をして、何か普通の病気じゃなくして死んでいったっていうことは、なんかあったんじゃないかなっていう疑惑の目は僕は今も持ってますけど。
The argument for why corruption in sumo exists is mostly rooted on the hierarchical structure of sumo. There are around 500 to 600 professional sumo wrestlers in the sport. But only top-ranked wrestlers, these are wrestlers at the top division and second division, get privileges such as a monthly salary and freedom to live in your own apartment. Lower-ranking wrestlers only get a small allowance to live off of, and they are mandated to live communally in stables with other low-ranking wrestlers. Your rank and seniority also dictates how much chores you have to perform within the stable, and bottom-ranked wrestlers are expected to act as servants to higher-ranking wrestlers in their stable. So you can imagine the desperation that these athletes have just to climb up the greasy pole of sumo, and getting kicked out of the paid ranks is possible in just a single tournament. Match fixing not only prevents this from happening, but also prolong the careers of top-ranking wrestlers. The mere idea that this happens in the strictly regulated sport of sumo, along with allegations of sex and drug parties that involve wrestlers who partake in important and sacred religious rituals, tarnish the reputation of Grand Sumo Wrestling and, in a way, Japan itself. Given that Japan has a strong emphasis on shame and guilt, to have their beloved sacred sport scandalized this way was absolutely shocking. According to the police, there was no evidence of foul play or traces of poisoning in the deaths of Konoshin Suga and Seiichiro Hashimoto. In the year 2000, Itai, the top division wrestler trained under Onaruto stable, also came out with a tell-all book that described in detail how match fixing happens in professional sumo. He believed 75 to 80% of the bouts during his time as an active wrestler were fixed. There were no concrete evidence that there was match fixing in Grand Sumo Wrestling to back the stories and allegations in their books. Not until 2011, where match rigging was proven to definitely exist. Investigations in 2011 found a deep network of match fixing and gambling, where 23 wrestlers were found guilty of Yaocho.